So last time was a little bit of a chaotic mess, shall we say. It started off with a lot of arguing. I really thought Alessandra was going to kill me, but then I remembered that I'm the mission, and she probably wouldn't kill the mission. And then this centaur showed up out of nowhere and invited us to a party. Her name's Jilly. She's really nice. She's really kind. I got a lot of wine while I was there, so that was a plus. And also, the party and I, reconciled. And Alessandra actually carved me a really nice symbol of Skerra. And it was really touching. And maybe she's not so tough and gruff and gloomy as I thought she was before. But anyway, we all got really drunk. It was a party, it was a festival, we got invited. Jilly was a wonderful host, although I don't remember most of the night, except for when I wandered into this little hedge thing, and there was this sculpture of Skerra, and Vesper followed me in, and everything just went quiet, and I felt drawn to meditate in front of the statue, or the hedge, I should say. Natural things, And we got drawn into a trance. And I spoke with Skerra, and he said some scary things that I'm gonna pretend like we didn't hear like 2 seconds ago. So we're gonna move on. We got out. Me and Vesper had a whole cry moment. It was beautiful, wonderful. We went to bed, or at least I went to bed. Vesper didn't come inside. Now you're cut up. Whatever. We're not gonna get into the touchy-feely stuff. Hello, and welcome to the Maidens of Mayhem podcast. My name is Gabby. I will be your DM. We are a roleplay heavy D&D podcast. This week, unfortunately, our player Mikhayla, who plays Nemmy, your guys' favorite purple tiefling, will not be able to make it. We will basically roleplay minimally as her for when her character is on screen, but not to take away from her own free will as a character. I did have an announcement from last week that I completely forgot to say, so I'm going to say it now, is I would like to thank Idris_Balefire, and I'm hoping I'm saying that correctly, because I did a live stream a while back on TikTok to help name a lot of the centaurs in Skerra, and they were the person that helped me come up with a lot of these names, so thank you for contributing and helping me figure out what to call centaurs, because I had no idea. And we are also rejoined by our guest, so you will hear from her once again soon if you enjoyed Jilly from last time. And I'll hand it over to whoever wants to introduce themselves first. I don't have anything else to say.
Hello everybody, I am Molly and I play Alessandra, a Dhampir rogue. Fun fact about me, because I've run out of fun facts for Alessandra, fun fact about me that even the party didn't know, I am 5'11", which shocked the party completely. They had no idea that I was this gargantuan thing, and they were all shooketh. So, that's my fun fact about me for the day.
Hi everyone, my name is Morgan. I play Vesper Aurvandall, a human cleric of Twilight. Fun fact about Vesper is that she has a soft spot for animals. She really enjoys the small furry critters. Yeah. Fun fact about me is I am only 5'3", so realizing somebody is more than 6 inches taller than me makes me very sad for my own stature. Anyway, that's me.
Hi guys, I'm Diana. I'm back again here to play Jilly Joyce, my personal favorite sort of southern centaur druid. As always, you can find me at Aspiring Strigonona on TikTok, and I am so happy to be back again, having so much fun with the maidens. And a fun fact about Jilly is that I didn't know that she was southern until I opened my mouth and started speaking as her. So that's all I got.
It was a beautiful moment.
I know it changed me, so you know.
Alright, so the first thing I want to address is at the very end of the last episode, Morgan, you said that Vesper probably didn't go to sleep right away. She probably would have stayed out under the stars.
Sure.
So my question is, well, I guess I have a couple questions. What did she do? And did she go to bed at a point to where she would have gotten like an actual long rest?
Yeah, she definitely would have gone to bed when she to be able to get a long rest.
Okay.
I would say she mostly just went out and sat outside and thought. She just kind of absentmindedly stared at the stars and got lost in her own thoughts after coming into contact with Skerra and seeing how he interacted with Tulip.
Alright. Interesting. Everyone's in bed, everyone gets the long rest if you needed it for whatever reason. Let's see how everyone's doing in the morning when you wake up. How hungover are y'all? So pretty much everyone but Jilly, because Jilly didn't really drink that much last night. She was playing the wonderful hostess.
You know what? I'm gonna roll Constitution to find out how hungover I am.
Are we rolling Constitution?
Yeah, Constitution saving throw. Sorry.
Okay. Oh,
I was
saving
just like,
throw.
yeah, saving throw.
15.
Okay.
13.
Let me check. Actually, it's not going to matter for either one of them because I rolled nat ones for both Nemmy and Tulip, so... so you got a 15, and what did Vesper get?
A 13.
Okay. So, I'm going to say that, Alessandra, you wake up and you just get that weird feeling you get when you know you drank the night before, but you're not really hungover. You think, like, in an hour if you eat something, like, you'll be fine. Vesper, you have a slight headache.
Mm-hmm.
Tulip and Nemmy wake up and their hair is like a mess. They're like, their clothes are all clumped up, raggedy, and they're just like, it's so bright. And then suddenly you're all drawn attention to the clanging of pots and pans over a stove in the kitchen area of Jilly's tent. And Tulip's like, oh my god, that's so loud! And when you turn towards the sound of this cooking, you see a middle-aged centaur, you probably would guess. She has darker, curly, poofier hair. She looks like she's dressed in the same clothes as she was the night before. Pearls to the side, like clothes are kind of like wrinkled, like she kind of haphazardly put them on and stuff. Like makeup from the day before running underneath her eyes just a little bit. And when she notices all of you get up, she looks over and says, oh, good morning, young fellas. I see Jilly made some friends, invited y'all to the party. I'm cooking up a real good breakfast. Come on, get some.
This is my aunt, right?
Yes.
All right, cool, awesome. I was like, oh, Aunt Alana. I wrote her in.
Yes. And you didn't see your aunt, like, at all last night. So you know she was obviously at the festival and enjoying it in some way, but you didn't actually see her when you were, like, looking around and talking to people and keeping an eye on your guests. And she didn't come home last night. So you're assuming that she must have maybe got home an hour ago or something?
Oh. Auntie, I didn't hear you come in last night. Are you just getting back now?
She'll serve up, like, some toast and some eggs and, like, some avocado. Like, yeah, you know, bougie avocado toast and eggs is basically what she serves. She'll put out plates for you guys to come over and start eating as long as, you know, you would like to. And she says, oh, you know, I just got caught up in some conversations with some people. I just, you know, I hope you had a good night.
I kind of bump her arm and I'm like, conversation.
Oh, behave yourself, Jilly. We have guests.
Well, of course. Let me introduce you to all of them. We have Alessandra over there, and Vesper, and oh my gosh, what's Mikhayla's character's name?
Nemmy.
Nemmy. Okay. She's not here, so it went out my brain.
It's okay.
And Nemmy, and of course, young Tulip. I met all of them on the road yesterday coming back.
Oh, how wonderful. What were y'all doing in this neck of the woods?
Going to visit Nemmy's family. She says it really fast, like rushing it out.
As she's saying that, like, Vesper was turning to, like, look at her. Because she knows she's been very secretive about what we were doing.
Oh, that how nice. You got family around here, Nemmy. And Nemmy, with her horrible hangover and a piece of toast out of her mouth, is gonna say, yeah. And then she hands a piece of toast to Waffles.
Ma'am, I hope we're not imposing on you at all. Like, thank you so much for, you and Jilly as well, inviting us into your home.
Oh, don't you even fret about it. Any friend of Jilly's is a friend of mine and is welcome in my home.
We definitely appreciate it.
And she'll sit down as a centaur would and start eating her own plate of avocado toast.
I have flashbacks of all the memes of, like, how would a centaur sleep in a bed? How does a centaur sit? How does a centaur wear pants? Like, yes,
like this or like this?
You see the one with, like, centaur babies and, like, since they're, like, horses stand up as soon as they're born and babies can't even hold their heads
but
up.
babies are...
How do centaur babies work?
They don't.
They don't.
I wonder about centaur anatomy every day of my life. I eat.
You eat. I'm assuming everyone's eating.
Yes.
Okay. And Alana will look around and be like, oh, how rude of me. I didn't even introduce myself to y'all. My name is Alana. I'm Jilly's aunt. Actually, I don't know if I know this. What does your aunt do around the village?
I think I wrote it in here. That's a good question.
So maybe I just forgot. I also haven't read it since last time.
I think that she was more of like she did a lot of like the dyeing and weaving and like kind of taught Jilly, even though Jilly's the one who kind of goes out and is like the environmentalist who knows where all the best things in the woods are, but Alana was kind of the one who taught her how to like actually make fabric and stuff.
Okay, got it. So then she goes on and she says, I taught this little one over here everything she knows.
She did, and she taught me a few other things that I'm sure she didn't mean to teach me. But she basically raised me, which was no easy task, let me tell you.
Now, I don't know what she means by that, but she is quite dearest to my heart, and I'm so glad she's found some people to hang around. Are you guys going to go to the opening ceremonies for the hunt? I'm like, I keep losing this southern accent, and I don't mean to. Like, the end starts going into a different accent. I'm just like, what is this?
Alessandra's gonna glance in Vesper's direction and raise her eyebrows.
Yeah, we're going to the opening ceremony. Nemmy and Tulip are actually gonna participate.
She looks over at the two hunched over their plates, like chugging water, and it's like, oh, well, I'm sure they'll do fine. And she just has this look of like, oh boy, on her face that she's not hiding very well.
Is there something wrong with them participating?
Oh, no, that's not what I meant. I just mean they look like they imbibed a little too much last night.
Yeah, they...
I think that some of the folks pouring drinks kind of forgot, and they gave them, like, centaur portions. Not quite appropriate for folks of a smaller stature, you know what I mean?
Your aunt gives you, like, a raised eyebrow look, like a, did you do that, Jilly?
I was, you know, pulled in several different directions at the time, but, you know, they seemed to be enjoying themselves, so I thought, who was I to get in the way?
With a 13 medicine check and having spent some time in the woods, would Alessandra know anything about any, like, medicinal barks or herbs, like, anything at all?
As in, like, to help them?
With, like, headaches or nausea or stuff?
I'd say from a 13, you would know that there's definitely something out there, but yeah, don't remember what it was called when you read it in a book.
Could I see if I have, like, any hangover cures lying around? That feels like something that Jilly would need.
All the
Probably.
time.
Give me just a perception check as you look around your house.
Sure. 11.
I'd say you could find a couple of herbs and you can like grind them up and put them like into like a smoothie or something for them to drink and be like, here, a cure-all to your hangover.
Just hair the
sure,
dog
sure.
it. Like,
Honestly.
just hand him another stein and say, go at it.
Just go nuts.
Alessandra's going to lean over and ask Jilly, do you perhaps have a collection of medicinal herbs by any chance?
I got just the thing, and I'll go over and just start making them like this concoction. It's definitely one of those hangover cures that like looks disgusting and is like putting all kinds of like gross, like weird things in it. But it's like I swear, this was my great grandmother's recipe, and it always worked. She had to be up bright and early the next morning, and she swore by it. And I'll just kind of do hangover cures.
Alessandra would have followed you to see what you're doing and see if she could possibly learn it, because she does have a fondness for intoxicating substances such as alcohol or wine. And with an 18 nature check, do I retain any of this knowledge?
I'd say yeah. You recognize some of the herbs, and anything that you don't recognize, you ask and Jilly explains it to you, and you watch, and I'd say you have a fairly good chance at replicating this as long as you can find the right stuff. And then after chugging the hangover cure-all that Jilly hands Tulip and Nemmy starts looking better towards the end of drinking it, so probably, after like 10-15 minutes goes by, and Tulip looks slightly better, but she has like that like twitch, when someone has a migraine and you just know that thing's not gonna go away until she goes to sleep tonight, so she's just stuck with this migraine for the rest of the day.
But with Tulip, still not looking good, right?
Yeah, she still definitely has like an intense migraine.
I will walk over to her and cast... I assume this would work, Lesser Restoration.
Oh yeah.
It basically cures some disease or condition that's afflicting a character.
Yeah.
So I will go touch her and cast Lesser Restoration on her.
Yeah, I say you do that, and it's basically like she didn't drink anything at all last night. She was a pure, innocent child. Just had water. When you walk away from her after doing that, she's just like, that's handy. That's great. That's good to know that you can do that.
And this is not for situations typically like this.
I'm not saying it is, but it's good information to have.
Vesper rolls her eyes and walks
She
back
starts
to her
packing
seat.
up her stuff. And unless there's anything you guys wanted to discuss this morning, we can fast forward the half hour to the opening ceremonies.
I did want to have like a quick chat with, my goodness, Millie, with Tulip. Out of earshot of other people if I can.
Okay, so I'll say, like, everyone's packing up, getting their stuff to go, getting dressed, making themselves look presentable if they came in the wee early mornings of the day at Aunt Alana.
Would I have run into her if I'd stayed up all night?
No, she came in, like, literally right before, like, she came in, started cooking, and woke you guys up with the noise.
Dang, okay.
And they start heading out the door. Vesper, you can kind of, like, get Tulip's attention and stay in the tent for like a couple more minutes before following the rest of them.
Yeah, it's just a quick thing. Tulip, about last night and Ned and Ted. I know I keep saying things to you as if I might maybe have all the answers. And I haven't told you exactly where this experience comes from. I just want you to know that I've made a lot of mistakes too. And some I don't even know what I did wrong. And I just want you to know that you're not alone with this. That we've made mistakes too.
Oh, fuck. Okay, she stays silent for a moment. And then she gets a slight smile. And she's going to grab your hand and say, "We'll figure it out together." And she starts leading you out of the house.
Okay, I follow her.
So, we're gonna have a mental breakdown now.
I can't unmute myself. That's another checklist onto something I wrote from my my analysis of her playlist.
So Tulip and Vesper rejoins the rest of you, and you start marching your way down to the town hall tent where the festivities are going on. You see most of the centaurs that live here have already started gathering there. There's some little light fruits and veggies, just like, vegetable dishes and stuff set out for snacking, and lots of decorations that changed overnight, apparently. You don't know how someone changed all the decorations in this area when almost everyone was drunk off their ass. But it's more like floral this time, like light and celebratory. You see a lot more of Skerra symbols, but they seem to be placed more deliberately. And basically the town hall tent, so it is a big tent, but there's a big deck area. That's where people seem to be gathering. Jilly would recognize all of the council members are kind of at the head, like on a raised little step, so that everyone could see them. And they just seem to be looking around, waiting to make sure it's the right time, that everyone's here that's going to come and all that. So let me roll for something for your aunt. Oh, fuck. Dude, everyone's feeling confident tonight. I got nat 20s for any time I've rolled for confidence. Okay, so I feel like Jilly would definitely take this of note, but your aunt, once you guys get into the crowd and she kind of mingles and says, "Oh, you kids have fun. Don't let this old mare hold y'all back." As she lets you guys drift along, she kind of slowly makes her way over to council member Mikado Goldenray. And they seem to be quite chummy. A little bit embarrassed, but quite chummy. And you guys can also notice that as well. You just wouldn't know who this male centaur is.
I kind of cross my arms. I try to kind of catch her eye, and if I do, I'm gonna just mouth conversation.
See if she notices you. She does, when she kind of shyly looks away from him, she laughs at something he says. She looks over, you guys make eye contact. She's like, he looks away really quickly, oh shit. And then another thing of note that is going on is, as people are gathering, there is music being played. So it's a younger satyr sitting at a harp. He has curly blonde hair and just barely a twist to his horns. He's wearing elegant green embroidered vests, and he just seems to be very invested in his music. He doesn't really pay attention to the crowd or anything, and not that anyone's really paying attention to me either. It's just really more adding the atmosphere, so it's not just silent. You guys walk amongst this crowd. What do you guys do?
Alessandra is going to look at Jilly and say, "This is some shindig you got going on here."
I know, it's my favorite time of the year. Every year, everyone's just all together. Everyone takes a few days off working. It's the best time. And, some folks are, pairing off, apparently. Lord.
Alessandra's gonna look at Vesper and say, "Aw, isn't that nice, Vesper?"
Yeah, Alessandra. It's real nice. I'm trying so hard not to punch you.
You should have never had that thing with that woman in the tavern because Alessandra will hold that over your head until you die.
You know what? You know nothing. You know nothing. Technically,
sure.
You know nothing.
I saw it happen. You don't just...
It was invisible.
Oh, I saw.
You did not see it happen.
I saw you go upstairs holding her hand. I make my own assumptions.
Anyway.
real quick though, have we seen other satyrs here? Because you said the one playing the harp is a satyr, correct?
I believe that this is the first satyr that the maidens have seen.
Here, yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
Here.
Okay. Interesting. And how long do we have to the opening ceremony, or is it kind of like happening now?
If you were to look around and just guess looking at where the sun is and stuff, you'd say that maybe like in the next 2 or 3 minutes, someone's gonna actually initiate it, but they're still waiting for the last gathering.
Okay.
And speaking of which, yes, okay. As you're just looking around, just trying to figure out like, oh, is this thing gonna start or what? A centaur that Jilly would automatically recognize as Azul Pegasus. He is the son of the head council member, who is Celadon Pegasus. And he has been the reigning head hunter for the past 2 years. He makes the approach, and when he starts walking amongst the crowd, everyone just kind of turns towards him, and they're just like, oh, he's here, he's entering again, and he's wearing this beautiful crown that has like antler horns and different foliage around, just this beautiful weaved crown with different leaves and flowers and just absolutely gorgeous, like the coveted crown of the headhunter. He walks in and everyone just stares at him when he walks by.
Can I vibe check him? What kind of vibe is he giving off? He seems pretentious to me, personally.
Give me an insight check.
18.
You can see, just judging, because you see the crown on his head and how people are reacting, that this is the guy who won last year at the very least, and that has given him an ego.
I'm gonna kind of lean down and be like, say whatever else you will about him, but he's talented with a bow, bless his heart.
Tulip's gonna look over at you and be like, that's my competition?
Well, yeah, but he's won the last 2 years in a row, but frankly, as far as I'm concerned, that just means that it's someone else's turn. You know what I mean?
She just looks at you dumbfounded like, I've signed up to fail. And she goes over towards one of the fruit trays and grabs like a grape.
Alessandra is just hoping that this satyr playing music does not catch Tulip's eye. Because we don't have any time for another failed romance. We have no time.
Vesper's ready, don't worry.
So is Alessandra.
She'll break another leg.
Break another leg. And then heal it, don't worry. It's fine.
I don't want to hurt him.
Instead of him running for his life.
I don't want to hurt him, she says, tripping him out of his own home.
So the council members are all up on that raised stage, like I said, and once it becomes time, they all kind of stamp their hooves to get everyone's attention, and then everyone, slowly, the murmurs start quieting down, and then everyone becomes silent and turns and focuses on them, and the oldest centaur present steps forward, and he's a darker skinned centaur with like a graying full beard and luscious locks going down his back, and he steps forward and he says, "Thank you all for coming here today. The council are elated to once again be blessed by Skerra with a beautiful, beautiful weather for the annual hunt. The hunt for Balua," and he like puts his hand up, and like everyone else does too, like that knows that they're supposed to do that, and like they cheer a little bit. I will now go over the history a little bit, as well as some of the rules. As most of you know, our great god Skerra hunted and killed the horrible monstrosity that was the brown bear, Balua Bonebreaker. She was a terror to this land many years ago. She hunted and killed and destroyed village after village, and none could stop her. It took the cries of the forest being depleted of its animals and its beloved people for Skerra to come down and have a long-fought battle with Balua, resulting in her death and food for the remaining people. The rest of her body was put into the soul to rebuild the land. And there's a little round of cheers like, yeah, go Skerra, praise Skerra, and, you know, the likes. And Celadon continues on, he says, this year we have 5 contestants. I would like them to please come forward when your name is called. First, the reigning head hunter, my own son, Azul Peganis. And Azul prances up and, you know, stands before his father, just real proud, standing like real straight. And then he says, Chartreuse Swiftfoot. And Jilly would know that is Wenge's, the youngest council member's younger sister. And she approaches, and she has like long blonde hair braided back, and she just seems nervous. And then Celadon says, Merlot Wanderer. And Merlot is like this 12-year-old centaur that's approaching. Has never entered before, but just seems really ready and like pumped, and prances up and he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna do it.
Please tell me he's like a little foal, like,
oh, of course,
like he's not
still
full
a child.
grown, like,
Yeah, no, he's still a child, of course, he's a foal.
Oh my god. I love him.
And then we have 2 visitors who are participating this year. Very exciting. May I have Nemmy Nemesis step forward? And Nemmy shyly looks at you guys, then goes and steps forward with these centaurs. And
as she steps forward, Alessandra's gonna start cheering like a proud mom in the soccer stands.
Aw, that gives Nemmy some confidence as she walks up. She straightens her back a little bit. She's like, yeah, I can do this.
You got this.
I hunt for a living. I shouldn't be afraid. And then Celadon finishes, and Tulip. These are our 5 contestants, and Tulip makes her way up, and she's just like, yeah, I'm here too.
Alessandra's gonna do the same. She's gonna cheer like the soccer mom,
yeah,
like,
same
yeah! That's my baby!
Tulip, like, kind of looks back and just does, like, the awkward kid thing, where she's like, yeah, shut up, you're embarrassing me. And Celadon continues to speak, and as he explains the rules, which I will explain so you guys kind of know what's going to happen, even though we won't really be showing the hunt today because of Mikhayla not being able to be here. But as he says the rules, you see that Demare Clove, one of the council members, walks by and takes everyone's weapons. And then Wenge follows behind and replaces them with traditional fake weapons, like kind of what you would give a child to practice with, like wooden swords. Like a wooden sword, like a bow, but the arrows like have like
they're foam tipped, like
foam
Nerf
tip, basically. Like, yeah, whatever the equivalent of a Nerf arrow. So like maybe they have like burlap sacks over it or whatever. They're like dull edges or something. So like fake weapons. And then this is what Celadon says: Ebernion, and another centaur comes up, will be our prey today. And this younger male centaur walks up and he's just like puts his hand up. Waves to the crowd, and they start donning him in like bear fur, and you guys see that on the belly part of the bear fur it is painted red, and that is representative of the weak spot on Balua where Skerra killed Balua. And they give him 2 really dull claw things to wear on his hands that act for his defense so he can attack back. And Celadon goes on and he says,
he gonna attack with his bare hands?
Anyway, moving on. Celadon says, the rules are as follows, my young hunters. No actual harm shall befall the prey or any hunter, hence why we have replaced your weapons with these fake ones that shall not hurt each other. Either way, still don't hurt each other. And then he says, you will get your weapons back at the end. The prey will get an hour head start to go set up their base, decide what they're going to do for the defenses, and then you guys can go down and track him. Once you track down the prey dies if you hit him 5 times in the weak spot, the red painted stomach, and he gestures towards the bear fur. The prey may defend itself. If the prey claws you 3 times, you are declared dead and have been killed by the prey. You are disqualified, you have lost the competition. Whoever the first hunter is to deal 5 killing blows to the prey must blow their horn, signaling that the competition has ended so no one else continues to keep going, and you all return back to the town hall where we will crown the new head hunter, or, and he winks at his son, the reigning head hunter.
I kind of just roll my eyes a bit.
Vesper's doing the exact same thing.
Alessandra's making a face and she's kind of squinting. And she's thinking to herself, is this fixed?
And then he says, so please, Ebernion, take your leave, be swift and strong. And the prey, dressed in his bear furs, will run off. At noon exactly, the hunters may start their hunt, and we will wait, and whenever it is done, there will be festivities. The feast to honor the new head hunter will take place at the winery. Please enjoy this brunch in each other's company and this wonderful music provided by Nutre. And then Nutre starts playing on his harp again.
Pop off, little guy. You go.
It's not the greatest music in the world. Everyone in the room has definitely heard better, but he's doing all right. He's definitely still learning because he's a younger satyr.
Alessandra will lean over towards Jilly and say, you want to take some bets?
What are you thinking?
She'll make a face. That's actually a face. You know what I'm talking about. And she'll say, I never put all of my winnings into one contestant, so I'm going to... I'm gonna put some money on our girl Nemmy.
Good bet, good bet.
And maybe that asshole, because I have a feeling something's a little sketchy.
Oh yes, well, Celadon would certainly love it to keep the winner's crown in the family for another year.
Alright, Alessandra's going to put forth 20 gold, 10 on Nemmy, 10 on the guy, and 5 on Tulip.
I'll put 5 gold on Little Merlot.
Little Merlot. Yes, someone has faith.
Merlot!
Okay.
It's his first time out, but I think he's really got the spirit.
Alessandra will put 1 silver on Merlot.
That poor little dude.
I gotta write this in my notes one moment. We're placing bets here.
Vesper, do you participate in the betting?
Sure.
Gambling? That's a sin!
You don't know her. She'll put 5 on chartreuse.
Chartreuse? Alright. So you guys have an hour to kill, so I'm gonna say Nemmy and Tulip make their way back to you guys. Well, Tulip's like, I'm nervous. She just, looks around at the other competition. Other than Merlot, she's not worried about Merlot, but she looks at Chartreuse and Azul and Nemmy, and she's like, I'm not winning.
Alessandra will grab her, put her hands on her shoulders, and say, Tulip, you fought literal demons. These people have nothing on you.
I feel like I learn something new about y'all every day.
Yeah, Tulip just slowly looks over at Jilly because she didn't know they were demons before.
Did I say demons? I'm sorry. Demons is a metaphor that us blood maidens use to refer to bad people.
Uh-huh. I mean, I suppose we all have our demons, don't we? But, you can tell from her face, she's just kind of like, Uh-huh. Sure.
Some
Whatever
more
you
literal
say.
than others.
My aunt raised me better than to contradict my guests. So, just letting that one go. But, Tulip, I'm sure you're going to be great. Plenty of folks have come in here, with no experience, and, they didn't always come in last, so I'm sure you're going to do wonderful.
I hope so. I mean, I'm still gonna try.
And besides, like, this is all really just for fun, Like, it's all
He
just...
don't make it look like it's for fun. And she looks over at Azul, who's like looking like he's like training with the fake bow.
Well, and I lean in real close. That's because Azul is kind of an asshole. I went to high school with that guy, and jock all the way.
I was literally about to say he seems like one of those gym douchebags.
Tulip she nods. She's like, yeah, maybe I just need to chill out. Just find my chill. And she's like, I'm gonna go get some like water or whatever they're serving here, because like I could take some shit. I'm not gonna drink, am I? I'm not.
Water
no.
would be best right now. Yes, I think that's wise.
She's like, all right, I'm gonna go find some water, and she wanders off.
So I'm just keeping an eye on that satyr boy.
As time passes, we're gonna go ahead and skip forward an hour, and Alessandra, since you're keeping an eye on that satyr boy, Tulip did at one point go up and talk to him. It was like a 10-minute conversation, and he like continued to play the harp as they talked, and then
Can
it
I
ended.
push Alessandra to like go try and eavesdrop on them?
I mean, I can do that. Do you want me to try?
Alessandra. Do you think I'm about to go up there and sneak up on them?
You're a very bad rogue. Just give me a moment.
Exactly.
Alright, let's roll her stealth.
We gotta be good parents.
19!
So you sneak up behind, and you hear Nutre say, "Oh, so you're from Shylar." And then he turns and looks right at you, because he heard you just crunch one stick. And then that draws Tulip's attention to you. She's like, Alessandra, why are you creeping?
I'm not. I just wanted to make sure if you needed anything before the hunt started.
No, I think I'll be fine. And then the hooves like stomp and get everyone's attention and says, "Hunters on your mark!" And they all line up where they're supposed to. And then he's like, "Begin tracking!" And they take off. For full disclosure for our listeners, obviously we're not going to play this out since Mikhayla's not here, because it's basically just a bunch of NPCs, which would be just me playing D&D by myself while everyone watches, which is a little stressful. So I played D&D by myself earlier before we recorded, so I rolled everything for everyone. I know who won, so we're just going to follow what Jilly, Alessandra, and Vesper do for the next few hours that the hunt will take place. And eventually, once we get to the closing ceremonies, I will announce who won.
After Tulip leaves, Alessandra's going to walk up to this bard in training. She's going to say, "Hi, I'm Alessandra. I'm a friend of Tulip's."
He'll stop playing the harp, and he like bends down to a water skin, and he looks up at you from his stool, and he says, "Hi, I'm Nutre."
She's going to outstretch her hand for a handshake.
He'll shake your hand.
She's going to say, "So we've seen Shylar. Where do you hail from?"
He looks at you for a second and like furrows his brow, and he says, I came here with my sister from the city of Token. The city life just wasn't for us, and when she said she was leaving with her husband, I left with her."
Token, I haven't been there. Sounds interesting.
It's a little further down the Gem Clover Road if you head more south.
Well, it was nice meeting you. I sure hope that the rest of it seems perhaps you're training to be a bard.
I would very much like to.
Well, I wish you
works.
wish you best of luck in your endeavors. It was wonderful meeting you. She's gonna keep her eye on him until Tulip gets back.
Is this guy like like, I feel like he's one of those hipsters who has a guitar but doesn't really know how to play it.
He just plays Wonderwall.
He just plays Wonderwall. Like, he pulls up to, like, open mic nights at every coffee house in the state.
I heard Stairway to Heaven is the one that pisses people off, especially at guitar stores.
Oh, it's so long.
I would say to, like, a degree he's like that. You very much know, because you've gotten to know him since he's come to town, like, in the past couple years. He's just not experienced. Like, you know, what makes a good musician is having that world of experience to put emotion into your music and traveling. And whenever you guys do get visitors, he tends to go up and talk to them and learn more about their stories and stuff so that he can try to put them into his music, but it never comes off as authentic because it's not his story.
Cool.
Mind if I roll insight to see what kind of vibe this guy was giving off so I can report back to Vesper?
Vibe checks left and right. I love it.
Go ahead.
Okay, so... Where's my insight mod? 17?
You're gonna have to roll again because you got the same.
Alright.
Love it.
So you just, like, stare at him a little longer because you can't read his
Natty
face.
20. Well, not... Yeah, nat 20. Wait, no, never mind. Sorry. I forgot. -1, 2. So 19.
It doesn't matter. He got a nat 1 anyway.
Oh.
So you look back when he thinks that you're not watching him anymore, so he's just relaxing because he's thinking no one's watching him. And the vibe you get is he's not... He's like he's a teenage boy. You wouldn't exactly trust a teenage boy with a teenage girl, you know? But you don't think he's, like, gonna hurt her. But you think that he's definitely gonna probably want to talk to her again. Is the vibe you're getting, is he has intentions to talk with her more.
Alessandra will walk over and side up to Vesper and say, it seems... She's going to be really goofy. But it seems that this young man here has intention of courting our dearest Tulip.
That's quite the predicament, then. I don't know if we can allow that to continue.
You're not gonna break his leg, are you?
No, I'm not gonna break his leg. Not unless he does something stupid.
We should just keep an eye on him.
What does Jilly
hear that.
think listening to this conversation?
I'm just like, oh Lord, who have I brought into this village? Well, I mean, if I can give my 2 cents, having known him for a while, I mean, he's an all right boy. I mean, he's still figuring out his craft. But other than that, you know, I think that he's pretty all right for the most part. He certainly has improved on that harp since last year. I can tell you that. Well, that's not really saying much. I'm not gonna lie. But
Still roasting this poor man.
He sure is getting there. Bless his heart.
Alessandra is going to look at Jilly and say, we're just worried. Tulip's last relationship, she's going to look up and search for the words in her head. She's going to say, Tulip's last relationship, he only really wanted to take advantage of her. Kind of not a great guy. We're just looking out for her.
Oh, well, of course, that makes perfect sense. You know, she does seem a little bit a little young, you know, and traveling on these roads, you're wise to be cautious of strangers.
So as you guys are having this conversation, give me perception checks to see what you're hearing around you guys.
Ooh,
from the
I'm
crowds.
good with perception.
Real quick, too. Thinking back... Oh, dang.
No, I'm
okay.
not.
Thinking back to because we saw Tulip approach Nutre. Correct?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I wrote it down as Nutray, but I keep wanting to pronounce it like that.
Nutray, I love it.
Can I do maybe a retroactive insight check to maybe what Tulip's deal was during that?
That's a 14 perception for Alessandra.
I just like
Just
to be
so you
nosy.
know. Of course we're gonna be nosy. Our daughter is very naive.
I'll allow it.
Dirty 20.
Noise.
You got the vibe that Tulip was very excited to see another satyr, especially one her age.
that away.
Okay, so what did you get, Alessandra, for your
14.
perception? Okay. What did everyone else get?
12.
22.
Okay, so Alessandra and Vesper, I'm gonna just say Jilly's too preoccupied with just like, who are these people? Why am I
just
with
like,
them?
Oh Lord, they do say the most concerning things sometimes.
You guys, you start hearing, actually, no, you actually see a centaur that hasn't been in the crowd yet. She's wearing like a very nice white button down with a black vest over it. Kind of looks like a bartender, like a fancy bartender would wear. They have short, dark hair, cut kind of in a faux hawk, but not really because that looks weird. Just short and spiky. And they walk up to Caressa Clouden that you met last night, the very regal councilwoman. And you see this centaur whisper concernedly towards Caressa, and Caressa just kind of like hushes and says, like shakes her hands like not here, and starts leading the centaur away.
Can I follow them?
You certainly can try. Roll a stealth check.
Let's do it. I'm a stealthy boy.
Do I notice Alessandra trying to stealth?
I would say you notice that Alessandra just starts slinking after these people since you noticed them as well.
Okay, hold on. As she starts slinking off, I'm gonna... Hold on. Where is it?
Are you gonna cast invisibility on me?
Yeah, I'm gonna cast invisibility on you. I don't know.
Just cast it. We know you have it. You used it many times.
Okay, I just cast it. I don't know where it is, though.
Alright, so...
Because I need to make sure it's not just on myself. Because sometimes you can, like, make yourself invisible. I don't know where it is.
I would assume it's under your spells.
Didn't you turn Tulip invisible? That's how we got in and out of Foundall alive.
Yes. And I don't know where it is.
I think you can do invisibility, the range is touch, so if you touch someone or something.
I have my player's handbook right next to me. I can look it up for you.
Yeah, I cast invisibility on her.
You just grab her shoulder real quick and she turns invisible.
Alessandra's gonna look at her invisible hands and go, whoa. And then she's going to roll stealth with advantage. 22.
Mm-hmm. Alright, you are able to easily follow behind them without being seen or heard. Jilly, you just suddenly realize Alessandra's not there anymore.
Oh,
tell her I went to the bathroom.
I didn't even
tell
see
her
her.
I went to the bathroom.
That you're gone. You can't tell her what to say.
Oh, I'm talking to Morgan, meta. Just tell her I went to the bathroom.
I didn't even see her leave.
I don't know where invisibility went. I'm sorry. I'm still like, it's just not here. Alessandra started not feeling too well. She had to go, you know.
Of course. Nature calls and all that. I guess. I wonder what all that was about, though.
We about to find out.
I don't know. When Caressa makes a face like that, I get a little concerned.
Do you think something went wrong with the hunt?
I don't think with the hunt. I don't remember if I mentioned to y'all, but a little while ago, Caressa, she owns the winery. A little while ago, there was some talk about an employee going missing, but no one really knew much about it. I mean, I just kind of drew my own conclusions and figured, it's right on the edge of the woods. I thought someone got taken off by a wild animal. These things happen. But, it's just a little strange that no one really has acknowledged it much, and now she ran off with that look on her face, so, I get a little worried. She's usually real composed.
That eases my mind nothing at all. It's like that dramatic, like, when somebody gets that piece of information and somebody, like, went off, and they just kind of look in the direction that they went, and they're like, oh, no. That's just what I feel like this turned out to be.
She's a big girl. She can handle herself.
I trust you.
And with that, we will follow Invisible Alessandra as you head west more towards where the winery is. It's part of the village that you haven't really gone too close to because you didn't really make it to the winery last night. And you see Caressa and whoever this centaur is stop just outside and start talking in hushed tones, and since you rolled well enough that I'm not gonna have you roll again, but you get close enough so you can hear their whole conversation. You just hear Caressa say, "What do you mean it came back?" And the other centaur says, "I mean that what we were preparing for the feast for later, like, it's all come to a halt. Wine was destroyed, like, barrels of it are just spilling in the cellar. Like, the cook got attacked, so now the cook doesn't want to cook anymore. I don't know what to tell. Oh, look, we need something to finally be done about this. Like, you can't keep avoiding this problem. This winery is going to sink, and the town is going to go with it." And Cress is just like, "Would you keep your voice down? We don't want anyone to know that we're having this. We need to keep this under wraps. This is winery business. Let's go inside and figure this out. Is it still here?" And then they go in the door.
Alessandra will follow behind.
So you follow them in, and they continue to have this conversation. You see that, like, there's just this group of staff that you would assume are just sitting in this bar area of this winery. All sitting at the table, leaning up against the bar. Just, they all look worried, distraught. Some of them have, like, claw marks on them. And some of them are, like, stained with various wines that, like, because barrels were broken. They all just look disheveled and defeated, and clearly the feast that they were talking about is not underway and will probably not be ready on time. And Cressa just looks around at everyone and she says, "Everything's gonna be fine, everyone. We're going to figure this out. I'm gonna go investigate the problem and see what we can do from there. Please come with me, Amaranth." And she gestures to the centaur that brought her here. And Amaranth will lead her down into the cellar, which I assume you go with, and follow closely behind. Just give me another stealth check since you're on actual wooden floors now, because the winery is the only actual structured building.
Okay, that's an 18.
Okay. They still don't notice you as you follow them. And they take you into, like, a back room, and you follow them downstairs into a cellar, and you can just see this, dirt floor cellar that has barrels and barrels of wine. You can see, like, there's a bottling station to put the barrels of wine into bottles for individual sale and to use at the bar and stuff. And the machinery to bottle it that helps that process go faster was completely obliterated. Like, it's in pieces on the floor. There are several barrels against the wall that are just smashed to pieces, and wine is just all over the floor. Some of it's drying in some spots, but it's so much wine that it will probably take days before this actually completely dries up. And your eyes are also drawn to a tunnel in the western wall that looks like something desperately crawled through to get inside. And Cressa just looks around and she says, my skerrets. And she just puts her hand to her chest and walks around in the puddle of wine, basically. And Amaranth looks at her. They say, "See, I told you we should have gotten help while we still had the chance. Things have gotten out of hand now, and our most important event of the year is about to be destroyed. What are we gonna do? We might be able to feed maybe half of these people in time and maybe scrounge up enough for the rest of them, like, an hour later, but no one's going to get to eat at the same time. The head hunter, whoever they may be, is going to be greatly disappointed. Celadon might even take your position. What are we going to do?" And Caressa just looks around and she says, I don't know. I suppose I'm just gonna have to go after it. And she looks up towards, through the floor, if she could look at the staff. I know none of them are up to going with me. I'll prepare my things. And she starts to go back up the stairs.
Alessandra's going to let out a quiet sigh, and she's going to speak. She's going to say, "You're not going by yourself."
Cressa just kind of stops and looks like slightly startled at this disembodied voice speaking to her, and she's like, "Excuse me?"
This is gonna be rough. I can't take invisibility off. She's going to say, "Pardon my disappearance, but my friend did help me with a spell. We're adventurers, and we noticed that something was wrong. We'll be willing to help you. It's kind of what we do.
She looks very worried when she realizes that, someone overheard everything.
Don't you worry, we'll keep the utmost confidence. No one will know besides me and the other member of my party.
Amaranth will pipe up and she says, "Ma'am, we don't really have the time, or are we not in the position to turn this offer down? If you really want to keep this under wraps, it'd be best if you return to the party while someone else takes care of it for you. Don't you agree?" And Cressa sighs and she says, I suppose you're right. Go fetch your companion and meet us back here and we'll tell you all that we know.
One more thing. We've made the acquaintance of Alessandra Joyce. Perhaps she'd be willing to help?
Jilly. Jilly would be the one, wouldn't she? Yes, bring her as well.
Alright, well, hopefully you'll be able to see me when I return. Pardon me. And she's gonna, you're just gonna hear, as she goes upstairs.
Alright.
Just really quickly, I figured out what was wrong, and luckily I had a copy of Vesper's character sheet from before I switched over to Tasha's Cauldron.
Oh, okay.
The spells changed. So I had darkness and invisibility at first, but now it's sea invisibility and moonbeam that I have. So I don't know how you want to play that.
When did they switch?
Since I've used invisibility, I can start not using it or whatever.
Since we just now figured it out, we'll just count for this session that you have it as invisibility, and the next session we'll transfer to what
I know. I'm like, why? Where is it? All I see is sea invisibility, and I've done it a few times. I feel like I would have read sea invisibility.
Yeah, we'll switch it for next session. So we'll just run this one out.
That makes me so sad. I don't get invisibility then until 7th level. No more sneaking for me. I wanted to be legal. Okay.
Invisible Alessandra reapproaches.
Vesper realizes and the invisibility drops. She doesn't have that anymore.
Alessandra's going to look at Vesper and look at Jilly, and she's going to say, "Could you guys follow me real quick?" And she's going to start hurrying back towards the winery.
Vesper looks at Jilly do you know anything about
No time for questions!
We're going.
Alright, I'll follow along.
Alright, so you are led back to the winery. Inside, and you see, probably very concerning for Jilly, just because you've never seen the winery in this state before, with all the staff disheveled and heartbroken, and no one's working on the feast that's supposed to happen in a few hours. And Cressa and Amaranth are just standing there in the center, just looking very concerned. And when you guys walk in, the two of them turn to you and will approach, and they'll say, Cressa will say, "Well, now that our little secret has gotten out, thanks to one of you two, I suppose."
Alessandra will raise her hand. Sorry.
She nods and she says, "It's quite all right. Of course, as you already know, and we did meet last night, I believe your name is Alessandra, correct? We would like to keep this as much under wraps as possible. A few weeks ago, one of the staff here, I don't think I can quite phrase this correctly. Could you describe it, Amaranth?" And Amaranth will step forward and they'll say, "Well, his name was Marklin. He was a satyr who worked here. He was our customer service rep, and I think the best way I would describe what happened is he just went completely feral. Just completely, I'd almost say, regressed in consciousness as a person. It was almost animalistic. I've never quite seen anything like it, and most of the staff, and they gesture over towards the rest of them, they won't even speak of the events of what happened. I'm not quite sure what caused it, but he just went feral, like I said, and destroyed a bunch of equipment, broke a window, and ran out through the vineyard to the forest. We thought maybe that would be the end of it. We could clean it up, and didn't seem to be the case. And Cressa will continue and says, yes, that little nuisance. He only makes one sound now, so it's been what we've been referring to him as since he doesn't seem to be Marklin anymore. We call him He-Who now.
Ah, that was why that was in the notes you sent me. Cool.
Hee-hoo.
We call him He-Who now, and he clawed his way through the earth into the cellar and destroyed more stuff a couple weeks ago. And then I guess he made it through that tunnel again before we were able to completely patch it up. And the feast, we don't know if we're even going to be able to get it done in time now. In order for everything to remain merry and happy, we need to keep this under wraps, like I said, and I will need to go back to the party and pretend like everything's going according to plan, which is where I would greatly appreciate if the three of you would go to the west through the forest, track him down, and take care of this He-Who in whatever way you see fit. I honestly don't care at this point. He will be the destruction of this village if we do not.
Carissa, I know you wanna keep this under wraps, but that might not be possible. I mean, whatever happened to him, I mean, who's to say that it won't happen again? And even if we are able to find him,
she nods and she says, "If you guys want to take on the task of capturing him, so we can figure out what happened, possibly cure him, or at least know what the cause is, so it doesn't happen to someone else, that is up to you. If it comes down to having to kill him, at this point, we can't have him around anymore. I could certainly try to get one of our clerics that might be able to keep things hushed, that might be able to restore him in some way, perhaps. I don't know, or perhaps," and she looks over at Vesper, "maybe even you might be able to figure out what's wrong with him if you're able to subdue him enough, but my main concern at this point is to get the problem taken care of as quickly as possible, as cleanly as possible, and in order for secrecy, I can offer you quite a hefty prize for doing so."
Alessandra's brain is gonna go cha-ching, but the way Alessandra, since her goddess is the red goddess and there's not much about her, I've kind of steeped the red goddess in Norse mythology. So
Okay.
what I'm going to do, if that's alright with you, I'm going to do a history and possibly a religion check and see if Alessandra would know about this. And if she does, then I'm going to start talking.
Roll
Alright,
history.
Let's roll history. Let's see what her history is. It's not bad.
I think I know.
Dirty
what's going
20.
on here.
Dirty 20. Yes!
Alright, so with that, you have heard the term He-Who before. You've heard of creatures called He-Whos that seem to be normal people that revert back to this animalistic, archaic versions of themselves, but you don't quite remember what causes it or like how to cure it or anything. You just remember, you know that you've heard of this before. This isn't the first time this
What
has
I'm
happened.
thinking is, do you know what Viking berserkers are?
Mhm.
They would take the drugs and then they'd go crazy, kind of animalistic. That's what I'm
Yes.
thinking is going on here, and maybe Alessandra would think that too, considering
If that's the conclusion you think Alessandra
Yeah,
would come
probably.
to, then
If-
yeah.
we're going off of her whole red goddess sort of being Norse kind of thing we're going for here. So, Alessandra will... She's gonna look at... I can't say her name for the life of me. That really pretty one.
Caressa.
Yes, thank you. I was gonna say Crescent or something like that. She's gonna look at Caressa and she's going to say... What did you call me? He-Who? Did he partake in any new wines, perhaps, while he was here?
Caressa will look over to Amaranth, waiting for her to answer, and Amaranth will kind of side-eye Caressa, and then say, "As far as I know, he only consumed you know what we always did, water for hydration while we worked, like the wine that we get complimentary to take home, you know, on the weekends. Nothing new, nothing special, nothing out of the ordinary. I didn't see him do anything other than routine.
Interesting. Well, there's got to be a root cause, but I guess we should get to tracking.
Amaranth will put up her finger real quick after you say it. She's like, I don't know if this helps, but perhaps because Marklin, when he was Marklin, was our customer service rep, he did deal with all of the people that were rather upset. It didn't happen very often. Most people, most of our customers from other cities and neighboring tribes and traveling merchants, they're always usually quite satisfied with our products, but there's always that, you know, there's always that one person that just you can't do anything right for, and he was the only person that would have to deal with that when they would show up. I don't know. Maybe it was a stress thing. I don't know if that helps.
That does. Do you keep a record of these customers?
She nods or they nod and they'll go behind the bar and dig for a little bit, and then they'll pull out a big leather-bound tome, prop it up on the bar, and start leafing through it, and eventually they stop and point out a page to you of the customer service basically reviews and like the resolve and like what the solution was and how they like, did they refund it, did they give them extra bottle for free, blah blah blah, like what the solution was to the problem.
All right. Alessandra's going to look for unresolved issues.
Give me a perception check as you quickly scan through the list.
Okay. 17.
So you scan through really quickly, looking through names. None of them seem to be anyone you recognize, and everything seems to be filled out to completion. You do notice that towards the end, and the timeline that Caressa and Amaranth gave you line up, like the last entry is about a month ago, a few weeks ago or so. But the closer you get towards the end of the record, the more scrawling the handwriting gets. Like, it was really neat and proper and really, you know, organized, and then it starts getting all over the place. Like, they would just write anything anywhere. Like, some of the words you can't even read. It just looks like scribbles. And like the last one, like, is not even legible. It's just like someone took a marker and just went, you know, or a quill and ink, I should say, and just went do across the page.
Descent into madness. Lovely. Okay. She's gonna look over at Vesper, say, anything?
None of the names stand out.
Alessandra will shake her head, and she'll say, have you heard of something called a he-who? It sounds familiar to me.
Would I have heard of a he-who?
You can roll history.
Okay. I'll try. 7.
No. Nope, that is a brand new term to you.
I can't say I have.
She's gonna glance over at Jilly. So, Jilly?
I'll let's see anything beyond hearing that word maybe thrown around. 16?
I'm gonna say just because, like, this is a new thing to your village and, like, your people and in Skerra's lore and stuff, there's not any mention of he-who that you don't recognize it.
Okay. I mean, this is the first I'm hearing of it, but I think we should really get out there, because if he's loose in the woods, so are the hunters, and they don't have anything they can really defend themselves with right now. So this hunt might become real.
Alessandra's eyes are gonna widen in realization and say, we should go! We should go now!
Yeah. Yeah, let's go.
Oh, Lord.
We don't have Nemmy with us. She's the best tracker.
I'm not terrible.
Neither am I, but Nemmy's the best.
Alright, so that is where we're going to call it then, as you guys exit the winery, set on the track to find this he-who.
He-who.
That's actually kind of terrifying, like...
But this kind of works out that we didn't get through this entire thing, because maybe next session I can do the hunt with Nemmy, because that's going on at the same time as this, so we can do, camera flashes between the two things.
We're running through the woods. They're running through the woods.
But we're running through the woods and there's fucking scary ass music. It's like a horror movie. We're like, God, we gotta find it.
Come out, I feel like.
And they're just like, wow,
the most urgent action movie music you've ever heard in your life.
And they're just running around and Zippity Doodah is playing, and they're just having a good old romp through the woods.
They're they're linked arms and they're skipping.
Yeah. They're fake fighting with toy swords.
It's like Monty Python, where have you seen the scene where he's running towards the castle and the guards are just and he's running towards the castle and the guards are just
Well, that was great. Thank you for joining us again, Diana. It was great.
Always lovely to be here.
The interactions between her aunt and her were great. I wasn't sure what to expect once I actually got the aunt into this, but I loved it.
Can we just have a Centaur only campaign? I love Centaur so much. It's my inner horse girl coming out.
Alright, well, does anyone have any closing statements? Anything they want to say, plug, talk about?
Did you want me to do my summary of the one shot to get people?
Yes, please.
Alright. Alright. Hello, everybody. This is Molly here. I just wanted to let everyone know within the next couple releases, I will be debuting my one-shot, which is based off of Mask of the Red Death by Edgar Allan Poe. And I'm really proud of it. It's entirely from scratch. It's entirely homebrew. If you read my bio, I've tested it out on the guys I play D&D with. They quite enjoyed it, and they only won by dumb luck. But here's a little summary to get you guys started and get you a little bit hyped up for it. So, the party will be traveling to Swordbreak, a kingdom of my own design, similar to Gabby's Foundall. However, nobody has heard hide nor hair of any of the citizens of Swordbreak for several months now, and after hearing from a tavern about the situation that the citizens of Swordbreak are facing, the party decides to investigate.
Ooh. Sounds interesting. I'm excited.
Good luck.
It's going to be interesting. So, just so it's clear for everyone listening, we will be releasing episode 10, probably wrapping up this He Who and the hunt, and probably leaving Skerra, unless everything takes longer than I'm expecting. We might have another episode in Skerra, but there will be another episode at least wrapping up these two arcs that we have set up for two halves of the party. And then the next episode will be the one shot that Molly will be running for us.
Best of luck, no pressure.
Thank you for listening to the Maidens of Mayhem podcast. Gabby here again with some extra info. Stick around until the end for a blooper from this episode. The next episode of Maidens of Mayhem will air on Wednesday, April 7th. Tune in then to join both the hunt for He Who and the ceremonial Balua. If you'd like to see more of the Maidens IRL, follow us on Instagram at Maidens of Mayhem Pod. A strange entity runs our Twitter, and it can be pretty funny at times, so be sure to follow it at Maiden Mayhem Pod. Once again, we'd like to thank our special guest Diana for joining us as Jilly Joyce, the Centaur Druid with Southern Hospitality. You can find her TikTok at Aspiring Stregonona. The link is provided in the description. The music used in this episode can be found at silvermansound.com and was written by Shane Ivers. The song as it appeared in this episode is as follows: Voyage of Discovery. A link to this song is provided in the description and is free to use under the Creative Commons Attribution 4.0 International License. Once again, the next episode of Maidens of Mayhem will come out on April 7th. Thanks for listening and see you next time.
I know we, and especially I, keep telling you things that doesn't really have any credibility to it. I'm sorry. If you just heard Millie go, "Row."
I know.
Millie, please, I'm trying to have a moment.